Hello everyone, my name is Adedamla Emmanuel. This is Real Talk with Dida, happening live on Tuesday. I know it's not live, but you know what I mean. It's another week, and it's a week where Nigeria decides, and where we get to say enough, or where we say let's go on. We're okay with what we're doing. Right now, we're in a situation where we're saying enough is enough. We can't go anymore. Why did we say that? Only because we're now self-aware. Because we have noticed that, some places other than this country, there are so many other nice things happening. So that's why we're saying enough is enough. Just the same way I'm going to say today's topic, saying be aware, be self-aware before you get married. Be self-aware. And when you're self-aware, we have less trouble. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's presumed that marriage will complete us, right? Story. Fairy tales and rom-com, they have lied to us, baje. They have done so well, and they have finally projected the idea that once you find your partner, Opari, you will finally feel fulfilled, you're going to be at peace with yourself and all that. Yeah, because that's what we read now. I don't blame you. Bye. I know what you're saying. But you need to know that your spouse is just an addition to your life and not the answer to all life's problem or questions. Auntie, only God can fill that path. I say it all the time, my past podcast, and I'm saying it today, that an addition to your life is just a spouse. So they are not the answer to all life's problems. That's why you need to self-discover yourself. Any married man or woman will attest to it and will tell you that marriage is overrated. I don't believe it's overrated really, yeah. But you see, when you are self-aware, you can go into the right marriage and then you can enjoy bliss on earth. That's what I'm talking about. So while marriage is beautiful and enriching, it's an enriching state of life, it's important that you discover yourself before you say I do. I know when you would finish, you need to be comfortable. You need to be comfortable with yourself. You need to like yourself and be kind to yourself. I know that after you finish school, some aunties and mommies and all that, what are you doing? They don't even know whether you have even discovered yourself. So what am I saying today? I'm going to talk about a few things you need to know about yourself. I like to break it down every time. Number one, I say, what are your passion? What exactly makes you think? What's that thing that makes you think? What's your interest? What do you know about yourself? Aside from, I'm dating a guy, aside from I have a man, how about you have a life? Do you have friends? When you have a friend or hobby, something you're passionate about. Some people, they're passionate about football. Even a lady can be passionate about football, basketball, lawn tennis and everything. You really need to know your interest, your own interest as an individual, right? So that when you're married, you typically know that these things are something that they're part of your interest. It still gives you joy, right? It gives you joy, and you experience more joy when you're not married. Within your marriage, and you have Jesus on the boat. Don't forget about Jesus. It's always about Jesus. Number two, you need to understand your motivation for getting married. And Uncle, why are you even getting married? Go. Ask yourself, why do I want to get married? Am I getting married because everyone believes I'm old enough, right? And I have finished my degree, and so the next thing is marriage. Check it out. Everybody feels everything for anybody at any point in time, and that's the irony of life. It's so funny that people want to tell you about your life yourself. I don't understand. That's what people are all about, right? They think they know so much about you enough to tell you that, okay, now nisi otisheton oya marriage loko nisi otisheton oya bimo loko. Okay, because the team oti bimo sin Mary lo mashi life, your own life. Do you get? So why do you really want to get married? You need to understand your own motivation. What do you expect out of the marriage that you're going into? Are you going to marry, because you feel that I just want to do it and let everybody just leave me and then I get out when it's not okay? Or you're ready to die to self? When I mean die to self, are you ready to be selfless? Are you going to be intentional? Because you have to be intentional daily in marriage. You need to ensure that you're committed to have a happy home. Those are the kind of questions you ask yourself when on your way to self-discovery before marriage. you need to ask those questions. It is important to be self-aware, because when you're self-aware, you will know what you deserve. Have you ever seen where somebody would be fighting, as in people will be fighting over a guy or a girl, or let me put it lady, let me just don't say girl, like a lady or a guy and everything. And then you in the picture, you're seeing them fight, and you're wondering that why don't you jump from before you go is half pence, or like these babes there is not all that and that. Like, why are they? You know why? Because you have already discovered yourself, and you actually know that this person they are fighting for what they like that. You get, because you know what you want. You get my point. Because you know what you want, you would not even be moved. And there's sometimes that maybe you're in a relationship and you know that this is not what I deserve, and then you finally find out that babe or the girl is dating somebody else. You are just straight like you know that kind of thing, because you're not really interested anymore, because you have been able to discover yourself. Number 3 is truly, how about your communication style? Do you know what your communication style? Do you know what actually gets you angry? Do you know your triggers? Right? There are so many styles of communication. Are you a passive communicator? Are you a passive aggressive person? Are you aggressive or are you assertive? It's important you know all these things, because when you know all these things, then you know how to be able to relate with your partner so that you can have a peaceful home. That's part of the things. And for some people, they actually, grew up where they have people shouting. It's not that they're fighting, but so they all just want to be heard, so they'll be shouting. And then when you now get married to somebody else and the guy is shouting, well, quickly Shelly, tell her one be over, so calm down, and he's not fighting. Do you understand? So you need to understand what you can take. And then that noise I won't say noise now because I said he's not shouting, but it can actually turn out in your ear to be noise. Do you get it? So this is what you need to understand by discovering your own communication style and then discovering your partner's communication style. Right. Some people, they grow up in an environment where they mix stew every day. You know that kind of fresh fish, fresh stew, brother, fresh fish, you came from a place where you guys, you make the stew, you pack in the freezer and stuff like that. And then the guy is coming in and see fresh stew, communicate. So you need to know yourself. Are you the one that likes to go to the kitchen every day? Are you somebody that wants to do this? Talk about these things. These are the things you talk about when you are about to get married, because you already self-discovered yourself. And you know that Emil like kitchen. No, it's not like you like kitchen, but I mean, you don't like the excessive one where you have to be sweating every day and then you're still working and all that. You guys can, arrange it and know what works for each other. Number 4, embrace each season of life on your way to self-discovery. There are things that will humble you, and marriage is one of them. Just take it like that. And no matter how much you think you have figured it out, you will still learn through life experiences. Another person, it can be a child. A child will humble you. You see, you know that when you get married, maybe you can do little about this, little you can do, right? But when it comes to a child, and you will be humble, because a child will put you through some tests that even you, because you know you love your child, right? There are some things that the child will do. Have you ever seen where you just sit down and a small baby just gives you a dirty slap? What your man doing? And there is nothing you can do about it, you see, because you know that that kind of thing. So there are so many things. Every season of life, just embrace it. That's why you need to know yourself. You need to understand that life is a journey. In that journey, there are a series of experiences which you will learn. And only having the right attitude through self-discovery can prepare you to be flexible. Trust me, there is no school for getting a new job. Some jobs are kind of challenging, right? Some people stay in their comfort zone. That's why some people stay in a particular place of work forever, right? Because some people like what they're doing. That's another different story. But some people don't like what they're doing, and they're in there because of the comfort zone. But when they decide to move, then the job that you're going to is actually another challenge, right? And nothing prepares you for that kind of challenge. Nothing prepares you. There's no school that prepares you for being married. Only the Bible, the manual, which is the word of God, can sustain you. And there is no school that actually prepares you for being a parent. So we only all learn as we go, like pay as you go, now. So we learn as we go. As we learn, then we continue to discover ourselves. So self-discovery cannot be underestimated. You cannot underestimate it. You really need to self-discover yourself. Number 5, you need to grow spiritually. When you have a true relationship with your Father, it's the most important step you need to have in self-discovery and life journey. So the relationship your parent had with God cannot sustain you. The one your pastors or your fellowship, what you have in fellowship, can't still sustain you. You have to build your own relationship with your Father. You need to seek to do His will, and that will be your guidance, for life. Lastly, on today's episode, I want you to understand that over the years you will change. And when I mean change, like I said, nothing prepares you for certain things. I mean the demand of life, marriage, parenthood, career, the man or the woman. Some people will disappoint you. Some people will betray you. And then you have successes over the years, and you have so many other things. So everything in between will change you. But the good thing about this thing is that you will be ready and be willing to accept them. Nothing prepares you for them except knowing yourself. Your spouse will also keep changing. Yeah, what I mean changing, not like necessarily for the bad or whatever, because there are so many things that will be calling onto your spouse. Now you were single, and then later on you got married, and then you started having 1 child and 2 children. Then in place of work you started having promotions and career changes, and then you start traveling. A lot of things. But you see, when you're intentional about loving each other, because you've already self-discovered each other, you're intentional with God, then you can both be able to navigate through these changes, and rather than growing apart, you actually be growing together. Having said all of this, please note, in all your self-discovery, do not stay in any relationship that is abusive. This is what we're going through right now. You know what I mean? We're trying to stop the abusive relationship that we've been in for years, and then we're trying to say enough is enough. It only happens when you self-discover yourself. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Real Talk with Ada. As always, I am just here on minding my Father's business. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to send it to anyone that you really love, to listen to it. And then if there's any other information that you would like to have, please visit my IG at Real Talk with Ada, and you'll be right there. Thank you once again. Have a lovely week. See you next Tuesday. Bye.